Good afternoon, everyone. Please take your seats. We are about to begin our presentation, Brazilian Architecture and Urban Planning, Solutions for a Changing World. Our conference is supported by ASBEA, the Brazilian Association of Architecture Firms, and promoted by the Apex Brazil, which is the Brazilian Agency for Exports Promotion and Investments. I would like to thank you for being here tonight with us in this beautiful venue here in Cannes. It's an honor for us to be here and to have your time to experience a little bit of the vision of Brazilian architects and urban planning about the challenges of our world. So please be welcome. My name is Pedro Coelho. I'm the International Officer of ASBEA and Built by Brazil. So please be welcome. And now we're going to start with our first presentation by Daniel Fernandes of Fernandes Arquitetos Associados. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. My name is Daniel Fernandes. I'm an architect, part of a distinguished group of Brazilian architects. We'll be talking to you today, and we have more like a teaser than a presentation. It's very brief. You probably know that we come from a place that was entirely made of immigrants, and you also know that Brazil is a large country, but we actually, in this picture, you can see all the countries of Europe fit inside Brazil, and but we actually have a piece of each country. We received immigrants, people from all over the world, Europe, Africa, Middle East, Asia, basically everywhere. And just an example, maybe you don't know that, but we have the largest Japanese colony outside Japan, the largest Italian colony outside Italy, largest Lebanese colony outside Lebanon, and so on. So for me, the best word to describe Brazil is diversity. And as you can imagine, it's a large number of different cultures coexisting not only in different regions, but sometimes at the same place or even the same city, like São Paulo. And this, of course, impacts everything. And for me, Brazilian architecture, it's almost impossible to define, as our culture is always changing and mutating under construction. It's a big mix of everything. And it was in this context that I grew up and became an architect. And for the last 25 years, we have been learning to recognize different aspects of different cultures and processing this information as an important ingredient and doing what we do as an architect, adding creativity and innovation. 160 million people visit or use our projects every year in Brazil. It's equivalent to 70% of Brazil's population in more than $10 billion of investments, and we had the opportunity to take this experience to 18 countries so far. And I want to share one case with you that I believe that maybe part of the success is based on this training to understand and use the local culture and mix it with our vision. And in UAE, mostly in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, we started a branch in 2016. Now we have a joint venture with a local company called AAAS. And this is kind of a process that is very common in the region, or step by step. The city, let's say the city or a big developer, sometimes they have intent or they want to develop a specific project, and they kind of invite some players, big players, for that specific business. Our market could be residential, retail, mixed use, and it's like a invitation or RFP, and we have something around 2 to 3 weeks to present a proposal. That it's more than a business plan, and at the end of the day, it's a design competition. We have feedbacks from our clients saying that they want the projects. That means to secure the rights to develop that specific area or plot because of the design. And from this process, we won like more than 40 projects that are in different stages now. And UAE region has a very distinctive culture, and they are always seeking for something new. But what is new? Could be anything or everything. But this is basically what almost all clients ask: two things: something new, that sometimes they ask for something that was never done before, that I don't know what means. And at the same time, more than ever, they are concerned about the identity and how to celebrate the local culture. I guess they lost this a little bit. And I guess as Brazilian architect, we are trained to do this every day. And basically, as a Brazilian, we have enough room in our hearts and minds for new friendship, new experiences, new challenges, and who knows, even maybe new clients. Thank you. And I have a lot of minutes, but I'll let my fellow architects, I know they have a bigger presentation than me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniel. That was very inspiring for the first presentation of our conference. And you got to know a little bit of our proposal here tonight. So we're showing pitches, and now we're going to introduce Stemmer Rodrigues Architecture with Ingrid Stemmer and Mariano Chitahini, who are going to present their pitch now. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. Certainly, you have an image of Brazil in your minds. Music, people, colors, and carnival, architecture, football, and Amazon. We would like to invite you to explore a Brazil that is home to 6 biomes, including the Atlantic forest, the most diverse and adaptable biome of the planet. It stretches approximately 1,000 kilometers along the coastline from the equator to the third parallel, where Stemmer Rodrigues is based. Here, the forest meets pampas, where the climate is shaped by the meeting of air masses from the Amazon and cold winds from the South Pole. This means that in 4 decades of existence, we have dealt with extreme climates. The work of Stemmer Rodrigues has been internationally recognized as a tropical brutalism.
In the last century, Brazil played a significant role in this movement, with works by Vilanova Artigas, Paulo Mendes da Rocha, Lina Bobardi, and many others. However, at that time, the movement largely disregarded sustainability and climatic particularities, issues that have now become essential. We're a country of contrasts, with unrivaled diversity. To face a world in constant transformation, we believe in the search of equilibrium. Understanding the wisdom passing down from nature and ancestral cultures can enrich our work. By observing birds, we can learn how to use the sun and wind as regulators of comfort. This is João de Barro, or Red Ovenbird, the great architect of the Pampas, a biome in southern Brazil where the minuao wind, coming from Patagonia, makes winters harsh. Its circular clay-built nest is fully closed to the south, with a spiral interior and an opening that allows northern sunlight to enter, resulting in the perfect shelter. In our project, Casa da Figueira, we have reproduced this concept by shielding the front facade from the south. While to the north, sunlight is fully embraced. When visiting the Igarapés, these narrow and shallow Amazonian waterways that run through the interior of the forest, we learn to use reflections, light and shadow as aesthetic tools. In these flooded regions of the Amazon, the reflection of the trees on Rio Negro creates a magical mirror effect, and the filtered sunlight generates ever-changing scenarios. After experiencing this, we sought to reproduce these effects in several projects, such as the Bosch building, Sena, Falcó, and Alvorado, and the Lotus Club. Every main member of the Xingu, an indigenous people of the Amazon, takes part in building the Oca, a structure that offers remarkable architectural solutions built by the indigenous communities in the same way for centuries. These large spaces bring together every social activity of the village: meals, celebrations, rituals, and dances. Located along the banks of the river, they consist of arched wooden structures covered with straw, with openings at the base and roof. Inside, the thermal and luminous comfort is unexpected. Fresh air from the water flows through the Oca in a convection movement, while diffuses light gently bathes the space, making it ideal for social interaction. We have reinterpreted this simple strategy, which generates both energy efficiency and comfort in the Carajá residence. We apply the same concept in the Lotus project, a club surrounded by water, where large concrete leaves allow the passage of air. At the meeting point of the petals, an opening provides light and ventilation, which is exactly what happens in the Oca. We can also bring the teachings of the forest into the urban environment. Tres, our latest project, located in a predominantly urban area, proposes the reconstruction of parts of the Atlantic forest, the most biodiverse biome on the planet, extending along the entire coastline of Brazil, full of life and highly adaptable. This is made possible by introducing the concept of regenerative landscaping and creating successive layers of vegetation, just as occurs in the forest. This environment provides shelter and food for the entire natural chain. Birds, bees, and residents all benefit from the results. Stemmer Rodriguez works in deep connection with our time by creating a link between contemporary and ancestral technological knowledge. Such balance makes us ready for future endless changes. Thank you.
Mariano, Ingrid, especially Ingrid, congratulations for such a beautiful presentation. I was lucky to see it in advance, so I was looking forward to see it here tonight. So it's very nice and a very beautiful glimpse of what Brazilian architecture can improve in terms of uses of natural knowledge for projects, not only in Brazil, but in the world. So thank you for this very inspiring presentation. And now I'm going to invite Lorenzo Jimenez from FGMF to make his presentation. Thank you.
Well, hello, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us in this presentation. It's hard to come third because of the previous presentations were so nice, but I'll try to do my best and try to entertain you for a while. Well, I'm from Brazil, FGMF. I'm one of the partners, founding partners of this agency, of this studio based in São Paulo. Actually, I'm the good-looking guy to the left there. Well, I wish I was that young again, but we started working in 1999, so last century. We're 26 years already on the road, which brings us a little bit of expertise and experience, but we're trying not to lose our youth. And this is our team right now. We're over 100 people based in São Paulo, but working with different types of architectures, different programs and scales. And since we're talking about architecture, I think it's important for us to acknowledge where we come from in terms of cultural background. This is some masterpieces of the 20th century architecture in Brazil from Vila Nova Artigas, has already been mentioned, Oscar Niemeyer, Heidi, Lina Bobar, George Lelé. Well, many architects that were very important for our modern movement in Brazil. And obviously, there's a lot that we learn from it, and we carry that on our architecture. But our commitment in FGMF is to take that legacy to a different step, not a better, not an evolution, but a different step. So we learn from it, and we try to provide a different type of architecture, more free in terms of solutions and construction solutions. And we have been recognized all over the world for this creativity and innovation that we provide. For us, obviously, this is flattering and good to receive awards, but for us, it's a beacon that we're providing the services that we commit to our client. And we do all scales of architecture, and then this is something that we like very much and we cherish in our office. We do from product design to urban design and urban planning, and we think that this complementarity of scales, this transversality, has a lot to teach for every new project we engage in. We're based in Brazil, as I said, but we have projects all over the world. We wish to have more projects, so welcome new clients that are possibly here. And since we're based in Brazil, it's inevitable to say that we do Brazilian architecture. That doesn't mean that we're going to repeat our Brazilian architecture all over the world, but there are some things that we can learn from Brazil. And it was fantastic that Danielle brought this diversity aspect, and then Esteban Rodriguez also mentioned Brazil as based on cliches and based on stereotypes, that it's inevitable for us to think of a country of a different culture without stereotyping, and we do it all the time about our own culture as well. And when we think of Brazil, we can think of the cities, the happiness of the people, the lush landscape, the vegetation, the diversity of fauna, and etc. But there's one aspect in Brazil that is totally underrated, in my opinion, which is this inheritance of an African dance. Actually, it's a fight, but it's called a dance. It's called capoeira. And I think we have a lot to learn from it. And I think it speaks a lot about Brazilian flexibility, our ability to deal with problems with graciousness, and it's kind of fun, right? To call it a fight, and that's probably why they call it a dance. And I think it kind of speaks about Brazil in a very nice way. Since we're a continental scale country with different climates, cultures, and regulations, this brings us, as architects, awareness and repertoire to deal with challenges. Also, our political and economic instability in Brazil, the social scarcity, the technology restrictions make us more creative. And then finally, ethnic and cultural diversity, what Daniel so very well spoke about, makes us more accepting and empathic as well. So this makes us, as Brazilian, quite flexible to work anywhere in the world. I brought some examples of our architecture from FGMF. They are organized, for example, in context, which means for us that no architecture is an object and is self-sufficient. It's part of a whole, it's part of a landscape, it's part of a system that is the nature itself, the climate, the type of vegetation, the functions around it, how actually people come in or leave from the projects. This is a project we recently done in Greece. Also this one, a different one. So architecture has a lot to do with the context, and we'll respond to the context, generating different solutions. So we're not attached to a pre-established form or a signature, an FGMF signature. We're all the time trying to understand and learn from this environment and try and understand how it actually will create an architecture that is blended, that is a result from this looking around. As you can see, we have different types of projects, more rural or beachfront or more urban and high-rise, low-rise. So this diversity of programs and scales is something that is a characteristic of our work. The second aspect that we can learn from, or we can show to you in our architecture, is the cherish of creating human-scaled spaces where the context actually, at a point, will be transformed in a space for people to live in. So architecture is about creating spaces for people. And when we transform that, we can see that the relationship between the built and the unbuilt spaces, the inside and outside, the transition between inner and outer space, which is also a cliche for architects, right? Every architect says about inside and outside, continuous, and etc. And this is something that we try to reinterpret in every project some way, especially because we come from a country where not only culturally, but also climate-wise, this possibility to be outside on an office building like this, for example, to conduct a presentation or an online call or a meeting on a terrace surrounded by vegetation and free air is much more interesting. And also relating to landscapes and creating filters and inside and outside spaces. So this is something that we are committed to, not losing the scale of architecture. And finally, tectonic, which can be, roughly translated as the art of construction, means to us that we're committed to trying to find the best technical solution for every project. We're not repeating ourselves or trying not to repeat ourselves in terms of solution. We always think that every architecture has a lot to teach to us, or every local material can be integrated in part of architecture, not only as a finishing material, but part of the constructive solution as well. So while designing spaces, we like to understand sometimes the contrast between the natural and the built spaces, sometimes working with light, sometimes sculpting with different types of materials, and sometimes the solidness and the volumes of the constructions will generate empty spaces where people can live in. And I'm not sure about how much time do I have, but I'm finishing presentation showcasing some of our projects from residential to high-rise buildings. This has been recently launched in São Paulo, and it kind of shows that we can treat our urban landscape and our solutions, our spaces, from each project, understanding also that each of the projects that we build will be used or will be seen, will be part of lives with much more people than those who will actually enter and use the buildings from inside. And I'll finish my presentation with this ongoing construction of a corporate building in São Paulo, which to me doesn't look like a corporate building. And this is exactly what we wanted it to look like. A non-corporate building, but creating several possibilities of terraces and possibilities of people to be outside. We have triple height ceilings with mezzanines, and then the restaurant in the middle before the rooftop, and then 9 apartments on the top. And that kind of brings us this responsibility sometimes to understand that a new building will transform the perception of the landscape of this address and how it actually will contribute to the future evolution of the city and landscape. So thank you so much, and that's it.
Well, that was very nice. Thank you, Lorenzo. By now, you have a comprehensive view of what we mean when you talk about Brazilian solutions for a changing world. Very creative and innovative solutions. And now we're going to continue our presentation talking about technology. So I'm going to invite Danilo Batista, Senior Partner of DNP Architecture and also President of ASBEA. So Danilo, please welcome.
Okay, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know if it's what time is it now. Oh, I'm Danilo Batista. I'm the CEO and founder of the IP Arquitetura, and I'm also the president of ASBEA. ASBEA is the Brazilian Association of Architecture Firms. ASBEA is the biggest association of firms in Brazil, and we have around 500 firms now. Not so big as FGM and MEF, the majority of we have small studios. I graduated in architecture in 1983. Oh, sorry. Yes. Okay, in 1983, I've been working with designing and consulting since then. It's a pleasure for me to be here representing my firm, representing ASBEA, and especially representing the Brazilian architecture and urban planning. The subject of my speech is from hand sketch to AI, a world of constant transformation. I think this is a picture of my career and also a picture of our profession. The IP Arquitetura was founded in 1984. It was opened as a small studio of architecture, and we began that work in a terrific period of Brazil. We have a terrific economic crisis in that time. But the Brazilian architecture firms were strong enough to survive, and we are here. And at the beginning, we started with small houses projects and small schools and renovations and things like that. By the way, and over time, the IP Arquitetura grown as a studio. We now are specialized in corporate and banking projects. These are our first projects you have to be shown here. And it's interesting to talk about the evolution of architecture and our management process. In the beginning, we know everybody started with handy sketches. The projects were made by hand. I don't know if the majority of people know this period. After that, we had with CAD, with software, we started to work with computers. Then, in the 2000s, we started with 3D modeling, and now we have good rendering jobs. And more recent, we in the IPE, we embrace AI. I think it's very important. We don't use it for projects. We use this for management. We have a lot of repetitive tasks in our office, and we use AI to work with them. And so this is a form of focus and more important issues like creative things and other things in the office. The first, excuse me, we have now in the IPE 3 different and main areas of activity. The first one is the corporate and banking projects. We have an experience of 30 years working with them, and now we will work with flexible layouts. We work with sustainable materials. We try to use natural ventilation, natural light. When it's not possible, we use air conditioner. That's every people. This is a bank meeting place, and we'd like to see that the choice of colors and materials and finishes, we prefer to talk about them with our client. It's interesting to work with the client's profile and not impose our style and of our studio. The second and most recent area of activity is hospitality. And the IPE is in Belo Horizonte, and only myself, I moved to Portugal in 1923. But my partner, I have a partner in Brazil. She lives in Belo Horizonte, my city. But to make it possible to manage the office remotely, we made some partnerships with other architects in Brazil, in different parts of the country. One of them is an architect in the northeast of Brazil, and with this architect, we made 3 projects of hotels with the Accor. This is one of them. It's in Pernambuco. We have 3 hotels there. This is another one, also in Pernambuco. And we are starting the first studies for a hotel in Lisbon now. The other partnership we made recently is with an architect specialized in retrofitting old buildings. And with this architect, we developed some retrofit and transformation projects. This is the project of Caixa Cultural in Belo Horizonte. Caixa is a bank owned by the Brazilian government, and it has many cultural centers in Brazil. We have São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, we have in Recife, in Brasília, and this is the first one in Minas Gerais, our state. It will be in Belo Horizonte. It's the main post office agents in the city, and they will share the space with Caixa. It's a building from 1930s. So it's an Art Deco building. We will restore them. It's not in a good, it's very deteriorated now. And we started this project, and probably it will be ready at the end of the year, at the beginning of 2026. Okay, another revitalization building we worked with is this Niemeyer building in Belo Horizonte at Praça Setes, the main square in Belo Horizonte. This was a bank at the beginning. Now it's a multi-use building. It's a nice place. The building is all new now, and you have a good restaurant with a rooftop. You see all the city there. And it's another retrofitting in Belo Horizonte. And DIP and its team believe it's possible to work on a good architecture in a simple and sustainable way. We think we have many buildings, vacant buildings in the center of the cities with a lot of urban infrastructure, and you have to use these buildings. So this is one of the things we believe in. We are working to succeed in this area. That's what I'm here to present to you, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Danilo. That was very nice to see how you applicate artificial intelligence to architecture. It's going on everywhere, and I think that architecture firms must adapt also. And now we're going to continue our journey towards understanding how Brazilian architects bring solutions for this changing world with Pedro Lira from Natureza Urbana. Pedro, please.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. So I'm Pedro Lira. I'm a founder at Natureza Urbana. We have our office, main office in São Paulo. We have a second office also in Brazil, Northeast Brazil, in Recife. And we have today over 30 architects and part of our team also in Spain. And when we created Natureza Urbana, me and Manuela, the other founding partner, we were looking at Brazil's nature as an inspiration to do our job and to bring our vision to the world. After spending a lot of years working in Spain, I worked for 11 years in a large Spanish office and working in a variety of European countries. And when I came back to Brazil and I went to live in São Paulo, and I got very much impressed about all the nature that surrounds us, and that many times is not part of our lives. Even the Amazon, that's a symbol of Brazil, but you don't. A few Brazilians know the Amazon. A few Brazilians go there. You don't connect with nature. So we decided to work in the intersection between the built and the natural environment, and that's why we decided to work with regenerative design as a tool. And in every project, we try to understand the context, the environment, the territory where we are working on, the social tissue, the users that we want to attract to our building, our development, and for sure with feasibility vision, because we know that someone's paying for either private or public client. and then we try to build a specific solution for each project that's a result of this understanding of the place where we were working on, of the conditions where we are working. This led us to be very adaptable. I think some of my colleagues already told how we are capable of being adaptive in Brazil, because our conditions, not only climate, but economic, social conditions made us this way. So with this, and based also in my career that I've been working internationally since 2005, we got to work in several countries, and right now we are working in 3 continents and 6 different countries, in different scales. So I'm just going to showcase a few projects, but we work from the territorial scale to the building architecture design scale, and that can be that can be from the planning of new communities, of thinking about how people should live, work, behave on these spaces. Usually the clients search for us, they have some understanding about the importance of the integration with the site, with the culture, with the social tissue, with nature. So we got to work in a lot of challenging projects, usually hard projects to work with. We are used to that. In this project, we can go from the master planning, the large scale, but also to the building design scale. Like in this case, it's a neighborhood plan close to São Paulo, and we are also designing some of the common spaces, like the headquarters of the neighborhood, for example, the centralities. Well, there's a Lorenzo's project over there on the left. I don't know if you recognized. He's also on this project. And then we take also this vision to places that are more challenging socially. We've been working, for example, in Cape Verde in Africa for 7 years now. We're doing several projects there, like we did in several contracts, master planning for sustainable tourism development for 60% of the country. It's a small country, they have 9 islands. We did for 6 of the 9 islands they have. So it's a project that starts from a very large scale, looking at the whole islands, how does it functions, how do people behave, what do they need, infrastructure, and then we get down to what we need to improve, what we need to structure for the inhabitants, and also in this case for tourism, as Cape Verde has 2 main economic sectors, fishing and tourism. And we also tried to bring this vision and way of doing and work with the elements that nature bring us to the scale of planning. Like in this case, this project is sustainable guidelines for the coastal occupancy of one of the Emirates, of Al Quwain. It's one of the Northern Emirates. And we did the whole planning for the built environment and tourism for the coast of this emirate using nature-based solutions and trying to avoid what you know as like the Dubai effect, like you just roll over everything. How can you still have profit and do nice things, but in a proper way and being related with the environment, right? And thinking about the perpetuity, right? Other important sector that we work on is tourism and hospitality, and we've been working in private and public areas. That can be this project, for example, it's an image for a project that we did for a cellulose company. They have an 11,000 hectares land, and they are thinking about the future of the company. So we did the whole master planning for real estate development and and tourism for this, for this company. But also, we even if the project is large, we try to deep dive into nature and natural elements to bring them as a solution. Like in this case, it's on other project in the Emirates, and we try to search for the natural elements of the place that we need to conserve, the mangroves in this case. And we found that this partner, the pattern, the Voronoi diagram, is found in nature in many places, and we took that as a possible solution to the infrastructures we were building, but also trying to hide them into nature, and this way protecting also the users. So here we had like visitor centers, eco lodges, and so on in this project, and working a lot with experiences. So in this case, for example, we built what the client most liked about the project was a marine safari. So a circuit of floating little infrastructures that would attract people, and this way we would conserve this lagoon. I will go faster because I think my time is already finishing. So we try to combine different situations from historical sites to conservation, overpassing rural sites where we can develop solutions for local communities. But we can also bring that for larger scale projects like the Iguazu Falls, where we did the whole ecotourism strategy, from eco lodges to transport, and then we can can also bring that to smaller scale private projects, from 1 hectare to 50, 100 hectare, for example, and always looking at the local and natural elements as a solution for our projects, and sometimes even at smaller scale, like cabins that we have around São Paulo. And going to the last part of accelerating now. We also have been working a lot in urban regeneration and public spaces, with an integral view from the master planning to the urban design and architecture. In this case, for example, it's the main tourism attraction of Campos do Jordão. It's a mountain destination close to São Paulo. It received 3 million visitors last year. They have a cable car and a lot of different attractions. But also in a larger scale in the urban environment, like in this 2-kilometer regeneration in São Luís city, where we worked with a lot of different situations to protect the coast, and with the urban space and public spaces, public squares, and transport. And yeah, now the last part. And sometimes we are invited just to work on the building directly. But even if it's that the case, we try to build a wider understanding and to bring the local elements as a solution. In this case, for example, it's a fish market and restaurant in Coastal Renew in Cape Verde. This is expected to be built next year in the coast of Mindelo, a very beautiful city. And we were inspired by the Pano de Terra. It's a very strong cultural element of Cape Verde as an element of the design of the project. Yeah, let's change the world together. That's what I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Pedro, for this beautiful presentation, showcasing how solutions can be made for master plans around the world. Very, very inspiring. And now we're going to our last two presentations, very short pitches before our cocktail, beginning with Sergio Misior from Grupo Mir.
So good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here at MIPIM, the world's leading event in real estate and urban innovation. I'm Sergio Missor. I'm an architect and urban planner and CEO of MIR Group, ESG Solutions. Now, it's important to explore together the critical challenges cities face and the transformative power of sustainable and urban planning. So, I will invite you to be with me in this journey and think about the future of the cities. If the mobility will be by air or not, we will have many layers to go to school, to work, to leisure. So think about it. The cities will be for people, the nature, the sustainability. So that's the important thing to rethink now and to create a new paradigm for the city. So, but first, we need to consider, are we shaping our cities or are we letting our cities shape us? So it's important to consider that Brazil is one of the most urbanized countries in the world. 87% of our population lives in the cities, and more than 26 million Brazilians live in inadequate conditions in that cities. So it's a huge challenge, and more than 40% of our housing is in these inadequacy conditions. So, okay, urban areas continue to face critical challenges like sanitation. Brazil's 100 largest cities, only 41 of sanitation, sewage is treated, and water distribution losses reach 40%. And about climate change, our vulnerability, the key climate change hazards affecting Brazilian lives and about flooding, heat exposure, drought, and landslides. And by 2030, most of neighborhoods in major cities will face high climate risk. And only 2 out of 10 cities are prepared for extreme weather events. So we live in a urban fragility with lack of infrastructure, housing shortage, and socio-economic disparities worsen these vulnerabilities. So it's not just an environmental issue, but is an economic and social emergence. We must focus on urban adaptation and resilience now. So, but here's the good news. The cities have the power to transformation. Cities generate over 80% of global GDP. They are hubs of innovation, where technology and sustainability intersect. They connect people, businesses, and governments, creating opportunities for progress. So they need to unlock this potential of the cities with strategic urban planning and participatory governance. In a MIR Group, we specialized in integrated urban solutions, combining infrastructure, technology, and community engagement. So we've seen real transformation in cities like Fortaleza, that I'm showing to you, and Palmas, for example. Fortaleza is the capital of Ceará in the northeast of Brazil, and Palmas, the capital of Tocantins in the north of Brazil, where data-driven planning and strategic investments have built urban resilience. So there are many key strategies to drive real impact. So this is Palmas in Tocantins, for example, and we've been working in a green corridor through the peripheral areas. So these two works is in the peripheral areas. We have to face with the issues about economic and social situation and lack of infrastructures as well. And these key strategies drive real impact, like smart planning and investment, so strengthening infrastructure in vulnerable urban areas, technology and innovation, smart solutions to address urban challenges, of course, public-private partnerships to collaborate across sectors for long-term success, and of course, the community participation in engaging the population in shaping and co-creating their cities and their solutions. So there are many examples of work that we've been doing like that. And sustainability becomes a global priority. Urban and strategic planning and certification systems like LEED and Fitwel play a crucial role in shaping healthier, more efficient cities. And at MIR Group, we help projects achieve these standards, such as Novo Nordisk, several investment in a sustainable insulin plant in Brazil. And they streamlined the process. We developed many technological platform to support this transformation, monitoring dashboards and report, offering real-time updates on management, compliance documentation, and next steps. So our cities are at a turning point. We can continue with outdated models or embrace urban resilience, sustainability, and participatory planning. At MIR, we believe in building cities that are not just livable, but truly regenerative, as Pedro Lira said. If you are looking for innovative, sustainable urban solution, we can talk. Thank you for your time, and let's shape the future of our cities together. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio, for this other perspective of how we can bring solutions for master planning and environmental licensing. And now we're going to finish our presentation before our cocktail, when we can exchange cards and information about our work with Greg Busquet from Architect's Office. Please, Greg. And Savio, please.
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you, to be here with you today. It's a very special moment for me because I was French 20 years ago, before to meet Brazil. So today I'm in France, in Brazil at the same time. So it's fantastic. I'm going to present to you Architect's Office, AO, or agency. Okay. So the agency, who we are. Before that, present me. I'm Greg Busquet. So I said I was French. I'm Brazilian now, almost Brazilian. But I think this is important to see the world like that, like a contextual things. So I don't know if I'm French, Brazilian. I'm a guy of the world, and I'm contextual. I was a founder of Triptych Architecture 20 years ago, and 4 years ago we found AO, Architecture Office. That's a sentence I like, the connection between dream, utopia, and the pragmatism of the world. I don't know if this is the architecture definition. It's maybe the real estate architecture definition. The compromise between the pragmatism to construct, to think, to design, and the dream and utopia, this is fundamental too. So we're trying to do the same thing at the same time. I don't know if we were successful, but this is the main goal. Today we are 110 people at the agency. What we are doing, it's a huge scale of project, like master planning, architecture, interior design, and design too. So it's landscaping. It's a new thing in the agency from last year. We got some architects in the whole world. After the pandemic situation, we contract some architects by screen. So now we got some architects in Italy and Spain and Coimbra in Portugal, in Canada too. And we're trying to do these things to mix the art and the techniques. Maybe this is a definition of architecture, arts and techniques. So we're trying to do some art and some techniques every day. We got some projects in 5 countries, in Brazil, Chile, Peru, Portugal, and France. And we got some projects in ongoing, 120 today. This is a big numbers, it's a lot of square meters. That's why we got a lot of architects too. And how to connect architecture, culture, social transformation, and innovation. Maybe this is the response for me to the power of the local, the context architecture as a global model. I think everybody talk about the context today. I don't know, this is a fancy word, but I think this is a goal for us to try to work with the context and to export ourselves or know-how. I think this is a unique way to make some interesting architecture to understand the context where we are going to construct. We are going to explain to you 3 projects, 3 scales, 3 different scales, master plan, an architecture like a master plan, and an architecture. These are 3rd project is very special because we are on the MIPIM award with this project, age 360. So vote for us. Thank you. Now, Savio Jobin, the architecture director, is going to explain some projects.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for the spoiler. There are now finalists at the MIPIM Award. So first of all, vote for us. And we're going to talk very briefly about 3 of our projects that really respond to different contexts in which we are working out. The first of all, we're going to talk about the master plan in the Amazon forest. So it represents a huge challenge because you need to be very responsible once you work with this urban front. So in this case, we were working in Alta Floresta, which is a small town, and we had this opportunity to create a new urban front so we could develop the city even more. And we always start with very tangible elements, which gives us a very powerful tool for us to develop our design. So in this case, we started by analyzing topography, the sunlight, and how we could transform the city itself in a very diverse and physical scale. So for this project, very particularly, we started from mapping out all the water and the stones which were already there, so we could take profit from it and enhance the potential of the plot site. So the result is a master plan which is really integrated into the water and into the local stones, and was developed into 5 phases, so we could have a more profitable way to develop it with the client. Here we brought some of the images so you could see it. The second project is a huge project which actually blends the limit of architecture and urban project, which is going to be one of the biggest World Trade Centers in Brazil, in our capital city, Brasilia. So we started out by thinking about how architecture could manage to put in the same place residential, office, and convention center, and a hotel, which gives us a total area of 140,000 square meters of GFA. So to respond to it, our idea was to build a very regular and rational grid so we could establish the different uses and different systems together in a whole type of architecture and actually blend them in a single element that is not a floor, that is not a roof, but is rather all of that. So it's a possibility for the people to walk through it, and it also generates energy and also reuses the water. So actually floor, wall, and roof are all in the same program, making it a mix of architecture and urban program. That was really a challenging one, but once we are in Brasilia, which gives us the perfect context for us to work with this project, that was a really interesting way to explore new ideas. Last but not least, we're going to talk about the finalist at this year's MIPIM Award, which is H360. Which is a residential building in a totally different context. We're talking here about Curitiba. So it's a very urban area in which we developed this residential, which is 120 meters high, and the apartments go up to from 200 square meters up to 500 square meters. So our reality here was totally different. We were at right next to the park of the city, and based on our process, and we like to do it in a very processual method, we developed more than 10 possibilities in which we could place the building itself. So this is actually the result of all this process that gives us the shape of the building, which is not something made out of our minds, but it's actually the interaction between the building and the urban setbacks. So this is a result. We actually went further developing an exoskeleton of the building, so we could be very flexible, so we could develop different types of plans, of course. As a different form of relating to the amenities, we also proposed this elevated common areas, so we could take profit of the upper floors for the apartments and also have a beautiful view of the city once you don't have the context of the buildings at that high anymore. So this is some registrations of the process that we did, and you can see as a result is a building that from each angle you see is a totally different one, and it's pretty much integrated into the urban fabric of Curitiba. And that's our goal, to mix the landscape with the built environment. That's basically how we work and how we manage to respond to different realities. This is actually one of the most recent pictures, which we can see the vegetation going on as a result of this design process.
Just to conclude, maybe this is an example of the pragmatism and the utopia, because we shown this project today and yesterday. A lot of architects or real estate guys say, how can you imagine an exoskeleton? It's a lot of money. It's exposed, so how it works exactly? And this is a win-win balance that you can imagine with the real estate. When we are doing exoskeleton, we are a free plan that it's selling really, really better. And we can work with plants and with vegetation, and we can respond to the firemen, because we got this compartmentation in Brazil. It's very important. So with an exoskeleton, we can respond to the three problematics with pragmatism, and this is our utopia. But thank you very much. And vote for us. Vote for us. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Greg and Savio. It was very nice to see the MIPIM finalist, H360. Vote for us. And Thank you everyone for staying with us for the presentation. We're gonna have a cocktail now, so please enjoy. It's raining a lot, so stay with us here until we're trying to stay as much as we can. So now please be invited to have a drink, some food, while all the speakers will come for the group picture, please. Thank you everyone.